The Louisiana pecan industry brings in more than $4 million to the state. Many of those pecans are used in making pralines. But as you'd likely know, a good praline can be hard to find. But not for our Melanie Ohmes, who takes us to Carencro this week to show us how one homegrown business is making life sweeter, one candy at a time.
I prefer to call it a kitchen than a factory.
The journey into the kitchen for Eddie and Renee Gary began back in 1989 in their small convenience store in Henderson, Louisiana. That's when they started making their pralines.
The people who had the store across the street came in and saw them and were interested in selling them in their store, so we started making them for that store and then the restaurant around the corner, and it just grew from there.
And Nanny's Candy was born. Originally, Eddie sold the pralines mostly to local stores and restaurants in the Lafayette area. Gradually, that grew. Eddie started sending his pralines to convenience stores all around Louisiana, especially those along the interstates.
After we saw the potential for the praline business to outdo the convenience store business, we left that business and bought the building that's next door and started making the candy there.
Thanks to a submission by a family friend, Nanny's Pralines received some national publicity by being chosen as the snack of the day for the Rachel Ray Show.
Their staff contacted us and asked us for samples, and we sent them samples. They liked the product and they decided to use our pralines as a snack of the day.
The name Nanny's comes from the common Southern nickname given to Eddie's wife Renee from her niece. The praline recipe also comes from Renee's family, but dates back much farther.
It's an old family recipe, but I mean, it's not any big secret. I've seen almost the exact recipe in a couple of different cookbooks. It's you know, a very standard praline recipe. Has a lot of milk in it, I'll tell you that.
If you take a look around Nanny's kitchen, you'll notice that it's not that fancy, and the praline recipe is fairly simple. But if you talk to some of their customers, they'll be quick to tell you that it's the taste of these candies that takes them back to a much simpler time.
If I could tell you how many times people have told me, oh, these are just like the ones that my grandmother used to make. And that's really the biggest compliment that someone can give us, is that, you know, this product reminds them of you know, old family good times.
The original praline remains Nanny's biggest seller, but Eddie says the company has added some new tasty treats.
The second product that we came out with after the praline was our chewy praline. We call it a chewy pecan caramel.
The fluctuating cost of pecans over the years has prompted the company to add other types of candies to their lineup.
If we had a bad pecan crop one year, you know, it was pretty devastating to our income, so we chose to, for our third product, to add peanut brittle. So we added the peanut brittle, and that's been a real good, successful seller for us as well. And then we added some popcorn snacks as well for the same reason.
The newest addition is what Eddie says once would have been referred to as a penny candy. However, with the changing times, it might be more appropriate to call it a quarter candy. We
make we call it a chewy praline bite. It's a similar recipe to the chewy pecan caramels, except that rather than them being scooped out as a patty and put in bags, we wrap them using a antique taffy wrapping machine so that it's a twist wrapped little stick of candy.
And with this latest confection, Eddie looks forward to expanding his markets to get new loyal customers stuck on this chewy treat. From Carencro, I'm Melanie Ohmes for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
As Melanie mentioned, you can find Nanny's Candy in 36 Walmarts across Louisiana, but you can also buy them online. To learn more about Nanny's Candy, click on over to our website, twilatv.org, and click on the Homegrown with Melanie Ohmes link.